and that's a sort of a good reminder of the point of the hearing today. Yes, a lot of elements to our immigration system, working, not working, that's an ongoing debate and frustration. The folks today have been on this court's process. And we can talk about the inputs, we can talk about the backlogs and the wait times, et cetera. We have focused a lot on the need for additional capacity. We've talked a lot about the judge's workload. And I just want to remind us that from fiscal year 2014 to fiscal 2023, we actually more than doubled the number of judges from 249 to more than 650, thanks in large part to EOIR's repeated asks to Congress for additional judges. But at the same time, EOIR has been criticized for failing to hire sufficient numbers of support staff for those judges. And from today's testimony, we hear that support staff is also desperately needed. Judge Sankoff, just briefly, I've asked a lot of very long questions, but just briefly, why are support staff so critical to you, your role and your job and the efficiency of the courts?
I could not do my job without the few support staff that I do have. They're phenomenal, working so hard. I sometimes get messages from them at 8 o'clock at night. We need our legal assistants to notify the parties when hearings are scheduled, to make sure that the hearing notices get sent out to Mr. McKinney so he comes to court on that day at the right time. We need them to, when Mr. McKinney files documents before the court, to make sure that those documents get put in the right file so I see them when I hold my hearing a few months down the road. We need them to send out their judicial orders. You know, we have a lot of paper files, so that means that those orders have to be sent out by mail. They take care of all of that. We also need them to be there to answer the phone when unrepresented litigants call with questions, how do I file this document? We also need our judicial law clerks to assist us with legal research on the very difficult questions. Not maybe the cases that are just that take 90 minutes, but the ones that are highly complex with novel questions of law. So we need them.
These are great examples and descriptive of what true courts should be. We've talked earlier in the hearing about the independence or the need to strengthen the independence of immigration courts. We referenced how both Democratic and Republican administrations have used immigration courts to influence immigration law and change or implement immigration policy and priorities. You know, we've heard over the years the creation of accelerated or dedicated or rocket dockets to prioritize certain types of cases, the imposition of case quotas. We've talked already about self-certification. Judge, back to you. Why are immigration courts so vulnerable to political interference, and how would truly independent immigration courts address some of these concerns?
I think that the source of the challenge that we have in terms of this vulnerability regarding independence is the fact that we're housed within the U.S. Department of Justice. Successive attorney generals have the authority to recertify cases to themselves. It changed the law. All of that results in expanded case dockets. But in addition, when the attorney general has that power to essentially implement the law enforcement agenda of the executive branch, that impacts our dockets and creates concerns in terms of lengthy delays for hearings that need to be handled in an expeditious manner and due process provided to them. But also, it causes real challenges for perceptions about fairness in our system. And so the other thing that we see quite often is that each new administration has different docketing priorities, and that shuffling of the docket results in judges being in one administration sent to the border, and their home court dockets languish for extended periods of time. So it's the docket shuffling and the issue with the changing case law that I think is the most problematic for our court.
Thank you. Now, before moving to close today's hearing, I do want to end with one last question to put sort of the human element back front and center. Question for Mr. McKinney. We talked about the backlogs, causes for the backlogs, recommendations on how to address the backlogs. what impact does the backlog as it exists today have on you and your clients?
It's significant, Senator, because I think everyone here involved, all the stakeholders involved are searching to strike the right balance. Speeding up leads to conveyor belt conveyor belt justice. Judges are not machine operators and my clients are not cogs. If we go too fast, you end up with respondents that are unrepresented with too few resources to put on a meaningful case. If we go too slow, the evidence gets stale and witnesses disappear. And that's why the immigration court system that we have, EOIR, needs to be given sufficient resources to meaningfully and fairly dispose of this huge backlog that we're facing.
Thank you. Thank you.